Verisk's Emerging Issues, your source for vital market intelligence on the evolving risks and opportunities facing insurers and risk managers that can help inform product development and strategic planning. Verisk's Emerging Issues.
Hello and welcome to Verisk's Emerging Issues. My name is Greg Scopletti. I'm a member of the Emerging Issues team. Our guest today is Assistant Vice President of National Affairs in our Government Relations team, Nancy Crespo. Nancy, thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely. Great to be here, Greg.
All right, great. So I wanted to start with I think it's fair to say, is the hot tech topic, certainly of last year and very much into this year, and that is artificial intelligence, AI.
As we're coming to learn, AI has the ability to take on many forms with varying uses and consequences. In last year, we saw a proliferation of deepfake legislation at the state level to combat the growing use of AI to produce false images, music, art, commercials. Deepfakes are basically simulated images, audio recordings, or videos that have been artificially created or altered through AI. They are commonly used for exploitation, such as to misrepresent someone. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas introduced the Take It Down Act this past summer to target non-consensual intimate imagery. Most victims have been young girls and women who often have a hard time getting online images or videos removed. The Take It Down Act aims to combat this by criminalizing the publication of it or the threat to publish these images. It protects good faith efforts to assist victims, requires websites to take down these images upon notice from the victim, and protects lawful speech. So that was just introduced, not passed. Combating deepfakes has been more successful at the state level. 30 states have enacted laws specifically addressing sexual deepfakes. Florida enacted a bill this past legislative session criminalizing images created, altered, adapted, or modified by electronic, mechanical, or other means to portray an identifiable minor engaged in sexual conduct. Louisiana and South Dakota enacted similar bills. Several states enacted laws regarding campaign political deepfakes. So, for example, Texas enacted a bill making it a criminal offense to fabricate a deceptive video with intent to injure a candidate or influence the outcome of an election. In Indiana, we saw them enact a bill requiring certain election campaign communications that contain fabricated media to include a disclaimer. And if it doesn't, the candidate may bring a civil action. So because deepfakes are getting better and better in that you cannot tell fakes from reality, we expect to see more as deepfakes become easier to create. And I mentioned privacy. The volume of information exchanged on a daily basis as a condition to receiving goods and services has just skyrocketed. With this comes an increase in data exposure and the misuse of information by bad actors. We've seen data breaches involving personal information such as names, social security numbers, birth dates, addresses, putting consumers at risk of identity theft. Root cause of one such data breach was later attributed to vulnerabilities in software discovered during the course of internal audits. The audits revealed that a 5-year backlog of software patches had not been addressed. It was later discovered the breach was known a couple months before it was actually disclosed to the public. So from shared frustration grew the start of this privacy legislation. California was the first state to enact a comprehensive consumer data privacy law to hold companies accountable for security practices. It's called the California Consumer Privacy Act, and it began as a ballot initiative. After obtaining enough signatures to qualify for the ballot, the Californians for Consumer Privacy actually negotiated a legislative deal and withdrew the initiative. The California Consumer Privacy Act was enacted in June of 2018, and it was effective in July of 2023. Other states then began to follow suit through the years as they too saw the need to regulate how companies use and store personal information. To date, roughly 20 states have enacted privacy legislation similar to the California Consumer Privacy Act. These bills cover a consumer's right or lack thereof to delete, obtain copies of, or opt out of the sale of their personal information, to name a few provisions covered.
So anything else on the technology front that the team may be monitoring?
Aerial imagery is one. We are aware that state legislation covering the use of aerial imagery in underwriting is likely to be introduced in 2025. Again, I'm pushing it down to the state level. Evaluating property risk is increasingly complex, and traditional methods like public records and on-site inspections can be incomplete and costly for insurers. And during times of catastrophe, when accessing a property can be dangerous, aerial imagery can be the best method for completing inspections and expediting claim payouts. Aerial imagery offers significant value and efficiency throughout the insurance lifecycle, from underwriting to risk assessment to claims resolution. It also empowers homeowners by increasing their awareness and enabling proactive measures regarding risk and resilience. To get ahead of what we believe is an emerging issue, Veris is actively working with the insurance trades to develop information to respond to growing regulatory and legislative concerns over the use of aerial imagery and analytics. Louisiana has passed legislation relating to the use of aerial imagery in underwriting. Connecticut and Pennsylvania have issued bulletins, and Massachusetts issued an FAQ. We have this year, there have been other measures that have been proposed across the states. Possible issues covered in the legislation and/or bulletins are privacy concerns and notice underwriting based solely on aerial imagery, accuracy concerns, including distrust of the images, and the right to correct and cure, and how often to do that. So we expect to see an uptick in legislation or regulatory activity on aerial imagery.
Okay, great, Nancy. Well, thank you. There's obviously obviously a lot of balls in the air here when it comes to some of the tech issues we've been talking about, and we're grateful that you could spend some time with us today to help us make sense of them.
Thanks for having me, Greg. Really appreciate it.
Of course, for anyone interested in following more from emerging issues, I encourage you to visit our website at core.verisk.com/EI, E as in emerging, I as in issues. And that will do it for us today. Thanks again for listening.
Verisk's Emerging Issues, your source for vital market intelligence on the evolving risks and opportunities facing insurers and risk managers that can help inform product development and strategic planning. Verisk's Emerging Issues.